it's actually really interesting because one of the first times that I went to, I believe it was Pampa, and it was like a 5 or 6 hour hike. And when we finally got there, you know, I sat down. I was completely exhausted, and you know, I felt something. I didn't know what it was, but I felt something on my back, and I turned around, and it's a pig. It's just a pig, and it was just like, and it was tied to a tree, so it only got so far. And I was just so scared because, I mean, here you don't just see pigs like, you know, hanging up and everything. And so then, you know, there were animals around, so it's very different from here. There was chickens and everything, and then right near there, that's where their school was. And then there was like a huge playground, and then very close to that is where like all of the little villages are. So it was really cute, but it was very different than here. I mean, at our schools here, you don't see, you know, the cute little pigs running around. So I mean, I thought it was nice. The kids must love it, but it was different than what it's like here. I'm double majoring in chemical engineering and biology. I'm called, what's the name of the program called? Oh! Oh my god. It's not that early either. Can you ask the question again? His program is called the Village Empowerment Program, and it takes place in Peru. He's been going there for, I believe, like about 20 years, but don't quote me on that. And basically every year he goes there about 2 times a year, and he visits the remote villages, and he checks to see if they have, you know, working radios or working, because they have problems with the electricity. So he checks to see if the solar panels are working as well, and then he'll go to medical clinics and see if they have like machines to clear their water, because they have big problems with contaminated water, so he goes and checks that out as well. The purpose of the pamphlet that I'm making is so that they could have the ability to test for certain diseases that they don't know how to right now. And the problem is that since it's in remote villages, they don't have access to certain materials, and so the people have to send out their test results to somewhere that could take up to 2 days for them to even reach, and they're always, you know, very sick. So the 2 days that it takes just for them to get the test and then to run the test and then to get back to them, it just takes, you know, an excessive amount of days. So they want to cut that down as short as possible, and they want to do that by doing it themselves. So this summer I'm going to be visiting the medical clinics, and I'm going to show them the tests that I've been doing. So because they actually told us that they didn't know how to run certain tests because they didn't have the materials. So what I'm doing is making a pamphlet, and it's going to have the materials and the procedures and the results and what they'll look like, and how they're actually going to go about doing the whole process. And that's what I'm going to be delivering to them. In Pampa, Pampa, Huarme. So we went down to La Victoria, and they actually told us that they had been having problems with, you know, the increase of people getting sick, but they didn't know how to go about fixing it. And what their main problem was, they knew how to actually go about the procedures, but they didn't have the materials, and they weren't exactly sure about if there were simpler or easier methods. So when we went down there, they told us what they were not capable of doing themselves and what they had to send out to other villages that they could do for them. And so they wanted to know if maybe we could just make it a little bit easier on them, get them the materials and show them how to use it, and then so that way if somebody got sick, they could deal with it hands-on instead of having to like relay the message over and over to other villages. I just think it's really important for everyone to reach out and help others. You may not know how much somebody needs your help until you ask them. And sometimes it's hard for people to ask you for help because they don't know how much you'd be willing to do for them. But there's a lot out there that people are unaware of. And for example, just like Peru, I've never been to a third world country before. I never knew the gravity. I never knew what it was like. It was such a culture shock because to me, you know, I grew up in the United States and I didn't know what it was like to not have electricity or to not have water. And it's a very beautiful place, but I just think that if you are capable of helping somebody, you should make your responsibility to do so. I just always want to remember how important it is to help other people, and that even though life is good here, it may not be for other people out there, and just to always remember that, so that way you always take it upon yourself to help somebody else out, even if you didn't know, but you should always find a way to just help people out.
Esta es mi tierra, así es mi Perú. Esta es mi tierra, así es mi Perú. Y dice: esta es mi tierra, así es mi Perú. Esta es mi tierra, así es mi Perú. Raza que el mundo escribiera la historia viril del imperio del sol, enarbolada